no good launching something like this on a flat market. We've got to make sure that there's some business activity, especially in the mining. Now, I'm told by...
Here in Phnom Penh, I'm in the office of Denzil Sprague, an Australian aviation consultant who's doing some very interesting things in other areas too, in Cambodia generally. But it was aviation, wasn't it, Denzil, that brought you here in the first place?
It was indeed. Having spent most of my life as a pilot in Australia, I accepted an invitation to come here and help start up an airline, Mekong Airlines we called it, and a Cambodian airline staffed by Australians, executive-wise and pilot-wise.
But starting an airline is a tricky thing to do anywhere.
It certainly is, and the sort of the pitfalls is if you don't have the expertise to do so. But we did. The previous airline had failed, and so there was an opening for us, and we were successful in beginning. After 6 months putting it together, we had our first flight on the 31st of January 2003.
What ultimately became of that airline?
Okay, we operated successfully for about 5 months or so, and then SARS hit us like a unforecast typhoon.
Yes.
We lost most of our passengers, 80% or more, overnight. We were forced to close before we made too much of a loss. Running an empty aeroplane for nearly 7 months is not a good way to make money.
Yeah. Nevertheless, you've stayed on in Phnom Penh in Cambodia. You found other things to do.
I did. Initially I went back to Australia and I thought, well, you know, I was so captivated by Cambodia, by the lovely people and the opportunities to do so many things. It was a new frontier, really, and it still is to some extent. And so I thought, well, okay, I'm not going to retire and play golf somewhere. I'll go back to Cambodia and see what I can do there.
And what did that turn out to be?
Well, I never thought I'd be running a brick factory, but that was one of my first ventures, because my driver from the airline, his family were out in this village and they had this brick factory which was in a desperate situation. So I bought it and built it up.
My goodness.
And in so doing, I was employing 30 families there. They all had children, they weren't going to school, they didn't have uniforms, and so that's where my association began.
But you'd never made a brick, had you?
Never made a brick before, but I'm from a farming background which has huge elements of practicality,
Yeah.
and so I thought, well, it's just another something like that. So it was. I mean, I never had hands-on in you know, firing the bricks, and that was an expertise beyond me.
But you have organisational skills.
But yes, I could see what needed to be done. We had to make drains, we had to put new roofs on, new kilns, and increase the productivity by about 180%, and looked after the families, and we had good productivity.
So that obviously took you into the countryside, into village life, where
Yes.
you started to see a different Cambodia, I guess.
Yes, exactly. And not too far from Phnom Penh, but it did. It gave me a good concept, a good feeling for the village life and the problems that they had, and eventually led me to the school project.
What is that involvement? What is the thing that you saw you most wanted to do and did?
I saw the potential of the kids were just absolutely, the kids are delightful, all Cambodian kids are, they're so eager, and so I wanted them all to go to school, so okay, but then that led me to see what the school was, which was in a terrible state of disrepair. So I was the only foreigner there at the village. I never ever saw another foreigner driving down the road or wherever, and so because of that, the temple where the school was the old school was situated, the monks approached me and they said, look, if we donate land which we have on the other side of the road from the temple, will you consider building a school? And I thought about that for a little while, and I thought, oh, I'll sell a block of land and and with that I'll build a school. And that's exactly how it happened. So now we've got a new primary school there. It's not a new school as such, because the kids just ran across the road from one school into their new one, which they love so much, and so that's how that started, and it's gone from there.
I don't suppose we could visit the school with you, could we?
You certainly can. They love visitors now, especially Australian ones. So they're very enthusiastic about visitors. I've had some such complimentary reports from visitors about how the kids are, and their eagerness will impress you. Okay, when we had the school officially opened by the Minister of Education, Youth and Sport, this bridge hadn't been officially opened. And so he made arrangements. He said, I want that bridge open for everybody coming out for the school opening. And so we assembled back there and waited till all the cars had arrived, and we proceeded across this bridge in a rather impressive motorcade. The police stopping any traffic coming off the side roads, and that was just for the day. Afterwards the bridge was closed again and was reopened, a week or two later, I think, officially. But we're very appreciative of that. Good morning. Hello, Director.
Hello.
Hello, Awa. This is the school director.
Oh, little children.
These are the kinders. Hello, Ian.
That's the old school over there, isn't it?
Yes, that's the old school. Within a temple grounds. There they had nowhere to play, they had no toilets, they had no facilities whatsoever.
Did they have okay teachers though?
The teachers were okay, because we've got the same teachers here.
Same ones.
So the teachers, but the difference between the look of the kids there and the look of the kids here now, the happiness, you can't believe the difference between the kids that I saw there and the kids that you can see here today.
Well, look, it's good for our well-being, isn't it, being surrounded by these cheerful children. They're just terrific. You play a big role in their sort of general health and well-being. What do you do about any health problems that may emerge?
Yes, well, we introduced a health scheme which began in January. This year. Every child was examined individually with a report card. Even things like colour blindness, their weight, everything, and a full medical examination for them with a stethoscope. And it was found that 64% of them were underweight for age. That was the measurement in January. By June, that 64% had dropped to 32%. So that wasn't because of food they were given. It was because of parasite control, vitamin A, other vitamins where necessary in individual cases, fluoride for their teeth, dental instruction. They didn't know what a toothbrush was, let alone toothpaste. So they were all given toothbrushes, toothpaste, given proper tuition on how to do it, cleanliness, and so as a result of that, the attendance at school rose. There were not so many sick people, and their well-being and attentiveness, especially their attentiveness at school and their work, improved dramatically. The teachers told me that.
And it was health officials that came and administered...
Yes, it was a properly registered health clinic in Phnom Penh that came out and over several weeks conducted these examinations. 600 of them were found to be needing basic dental treatment. 600 out of the 800. So the water in this area is not particularly good. No fluoride especially. So now we're looking to obtain the services, or pro bono services, of a dental clinic, a mobile clinic, which will come out and treat the 600 kids that need it.
And their parents like the fact that this is happening.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, I think we've had a few defectors from other schools. I mean, it's well known that this is a school that they like to be, because things happen here for them, like whether it be uniforms that we provide particularly poor children, or bicycles, soccer balls for them to play with.
You must have some good support. This is all costing quite a bit. It must
yes, that is. I'm getting good support now from Australia, from Caulfield Grammar, which is being set up as a sister school for us.
Right.
We're very thrilled about that. They are too. When I go back to Australia in December, I'll go and thank them personally for raising the money and sort of get things going a little bit more there. But money comes from there, from the Humanities Foundation, which I met the director of. He does wonderful work in the Philippines, that awful mud volcano and other things, but he sent money over from his organisation. So together with that and the Caulfield Grammar, I can sort of keep these things rolling. But the health program and these tiles here, which was another health issue, that was donated by the direct aid program of the Australian Embassy, for which I'm extremely grateful. I mean, they've done wonderful contributions, given us wonderful contributions.
Good morning, I'm Max. He's changed his name in the last 5 minutes. And what is your name?
My name is Mary.